This is something that Dolores Cannon talked about the splitting of two earths, a 3D reality and a 5D reality. Well, there are 3, 4, maybe 5 things that will keep you locked out of 5D consciousness, which has to do with the best, most optimal timeline you could possibly experience. And there are certain things that keep you tethered in a lower vibrational state of consciousness. So in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly what does that and what you can do to make sure you make this shift onto the most optimal timeline and into a 5D level of consciousness. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, we're going to be going very deep down the rabbit hole of 5D consciousness. Now this sounds esoteric. I understand that. We hear the words 5D consciousness and we think of maybe floating in some type of light city, some type of clouds. Maybe we think of some type of ascension like the Mayans did back in the day, where then we're in this reality, then we're in a completely new reality, and it seems a little bit unrelatable. But this video is going to show you how it is actually relatable, and it's happening right now on the planet. We are shifting from one level of consciousness into another level of consciousness. And the parts that I want to share with you are the biggest things that you'll be able to notice between these two things. Now, first off, these two realities of 5D and 3D, they exist right now overlaying each other. So you may even have sometimes of your day when you're in a 3D level of consciousness, and then you may literally meditate, get into a 5D level of consciousness, and then something might pull you back down into 3D level of consciousness. Now, that's because what the Law of One talks about, what Dolores Cannon's material talks about, Law of One, it calls it the harvest, where right now we have this opportunity to evolve to a new state of consciousness, where we could do like really cool things like shoot lasers out of our eyes, and to activate our third eye to apparate anywhere we want, like in Harry Potter. Okay, maybe that's not actually what I meant. I'm being sarcastic. But 5D consciousness is, first off, let's look at the scale real quick. Let me explain it real quick before I get into the 3 things or the 4 things or the 5 things that we need to know about this. The scale of consciousness I always share. You've got fear, anger, neutrality, willingness, reasoning, love, joy, peace, enlightenment. Think of it like this. The 300s and below are 3D reality and its duality. Separation, attachment, autopilot mind. It's very reactive. It thinks in linear terms. There's been a lot of control in the 3D reality. A lot of people call this the Great Awakening because so many people are becoming aware of how controlled the media is, how people have in a way been kept from understanding who they really are. 5D reality is connection, love, high vibe. It's fun. It's in the moment right now. It's understanding oneness, that we're all connected. You wouldn't do something to someone else when you realize that someone else is connected to you in a very powerful way. So what happens is right now there's an overlaying of these two realities. And what Bashar has said, I had a private session with Bashar recently. He said, get on the one you prefer. Because the one you prefer is going to have a certain reality reflection. And if you're on the other one, you're going to get that reality reflection. So if you're in the 3D, you may feel and experience more of that duality, more of that fear, more of the negative things that you don't prefer to experience. Whereas in 5D, it's much different energy. So first thing I want to talk about here has to do with understanding scarcity. Scarcity will keep you at a 3D level of consciousness. Scarcity is this mindset in 3D that there is not enough to go around. Scarcity is something that will keep people in lower vibrational states of fear as well. Now let me share with you one of the biggest game changers for me when I understood this, and this honestly I think is a 5D perspective, and this is before I even knew of any ascension, star seeds, any of this esoteric stuff. Back in 2011, 12, when I was working my 9-to-5 job selling women's shoes, I was learning about the law of attraction, and I'd go into every day and I could kind of see the kind of results I was getting based on my perspective and my mindset. And I read this one book that was called The Science of Getting Rich by, I believe, Walter Wattles. And in it, it talked about this idea of what is called the creative mind and the competitive mind. And how, when we're in a competitive mind, we're comparing ourselves, we're in fear, and that actually causes scarcity because then we believe that there's only so much to go around. rather than knowing that there's an infinite, abundant source that we can begin to pull from. So I began to experiment with this, and I was working that 9-to-5 job, so I would go in and I would only get paid based a commission on what I sold. And if one of my other employees got a good sale, sometimes we'd be like, oh man, they got a good sale. I could have had that. I could have helped that customer. But this is what I eventually began to play with. I began to be in the creative mind where there's more than enough to go around. If somebody else had a good sale, I would be happy for them and be like, that's awesome. That means customers are buying today. I'd be in this creative mind where I was like, there's so much more. There's so much abundance. There's not scarcity at all. And as I became in that perspective, it was like magic. I would literally experience more and more of that abundance coming into my life. I believe that that is a 5D perspective of abundance. And one thing we must let go of from the 3D perspective is that of the scarcity mindset, the competitive frame, and knowing that we can create win-win scenarios where we all win. But at the same time, understanding that there is that the creative mind is much more powerful than the competitive mind, but also that begins to trust that 5D energy. I've realized even my own business practices, when I think of and I'm focused on willpower, success, getting things done, and kind of an old school 3D way where it's about control and work and hard work, I'm realizing the more that I get into flow, the more that I'm enjoying what I'm doing as well, because then I'm also more in the present moment, the more abundance comes. So there's actually more abundance to be made in 5D, but it also has to do with getting in your passion. You doing what you love. That's a very important part of 5D level of consciousness. And in 5D level of consciousness, I believe that there'll be more magic we experience, more synchronicity. 5D is full of synchronicity. It's also, understand this, synchronicities in 3D reality as well. But in 3D reality, we're so attached and we're so reactive, we're not aware of the synchronicity. Synchronicity is just the understanding that everything happens here and now. Everything is this moment right now. So we can see a correlation between what we think and what we experience, and that's what we call synchronicity. We're more aware in 5D, that's why we're more aware of it, and we can see it, notice it. However, in 3D, we're a reactive mind, and it's harder for us. You know, the news, the control systems, everything in the lower vibes keeps us in this like less aware state. Now, the next thing I want to talk about that will keep you in 3D and out of 5D will be drama of the 3D. Many times we are very conditioned to like drama, to like, look at what's happening on the news, look at this, look what this person's saying, oh my goodness, this triggers me. And many times we may actually be somewhat addicted to it and we may like it and not even know it. We may get a payoff. The payoff of drama is we feel alive. But the part that we must understand is that really living, and especially in a 5D level of consciousness, is about channeling that energy that would normally go towards meaningless drama of the news and channeling that into you doing what you love, your passion, going forward and living life on your terms. We're moving into an age when I think most people are going to be able to work for themselves if they want to. Especially people listening to my videos, because you're most likely into this kind of like this information, which means that I believe that in a way you're meant to be like kind of like a lighthouse or like a light worker and help other people wake up in ways you may not even understand yet. So that was the next, and then old beliefs as well. Old beliefs will keep us in 3D. Old beliefs of believing we're not worthy. Old beliefs believing we have to do what everyone else says, caring what other people think. And that's why the key is becoming aware of those beliefs and then realizing that in 5D, those beliefs don't need to be there. Okay? That's what we realize. Now, as well as 3D to 5D, another thing that we're going to want to let go of is seriousness. Being super serious about things. Seriousness is heavy. When we begin to lighten up, that's why they say one of the tricks to enlightenment is to enlighten up on yourself, to lighten up, have more fun, enjoy life. Realize that we come here, we forget who we are when we come to this reality, so that we can go through the process of remembering who we are. 3D is separation. 5D is we start to remember. And when we start to remember, we start to have more fun. Reality becomes much more dreamlike, much more flexible, much more malleable. But when we in 3D, it gonna be very solid. So this is why it's solid and heavy and hard to change. Whereas we warm up a little bit and the clay becomes a little bit more malleable in 5D. So that's another thing. Another thing that might keep you out of 5D would be, I mean, this is like a negative, I think it's somewhat of a negative belief, a negative perspective, but like technology, somewhat. We get sucked into technology. I wear like blue blockers, and some people will say like the Wi-Fi and some of the other, you know, their words that have to do with like the technology and stuff. The thing that I recommend to combat that is to first off, raise your vibration, like that. Raise your vibration. If you raise your vibration, these technologies will not have as much power over you. But one of the things you can do every single day is ground yourself in grass. I'm looking in my backyard at grass right now, and you could literally ground yourself in grass, and that immediately has a powerful effect on your body, on your energy. And doing that every day will help you to, in a way, not have such scattered energy. Then you can focus it on what you're passionate about so that you can do what you love full time. Like we're talking about. You want to get to do what you love full time. No one else telling you what to do, not go to your 9-to-5 job, not you got to do this. No, you're going to do what you want to do. When you want to do it, and it's also going to be tied to your passion and your vision. That thing I want to talk about is attachment. Attachment will keep you in 3D. You also thinking that it's your job to wake everyone else up will keep you in 3D. I'm going to stay back in 3D reality to help everyone else wake up. Because I'm so noble and so wise and so caring. It's not the way it works. The only way that you can really help people is by anchoring your energy into 5D. Being in that love, being in that connection, in that high vibe state, that attracts people to say, I want what that person got. I want to be in a high vibe. I want to not let this news affect me so much. That's how you affect people from a new level of consciousness. But attachment, and also that's fear. Understand, everyone's exactly where they need to be. It's not like there's going to be these splittings of these worlds physically and like your dog and your grandma on this 3D earth and then you're on this 5D earth with a whole bunch of other of your weird friends. No, we're all in this together. And that's why as community, we're all coming together. And you see, look below. You got a whole bunch of other weird people that we're all weird. But guess what? We're also in 5D. At least that's what we think. But we are raising our vibration to be more in that state. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to this video. Subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more cool videos coming. Also, one of the most powerful meditations I've ever made is on 5D consciousness. Read the comments to see what's possible. It's on, this meditation will shift you into 5D instantly. That's the name of the edgy title. I know it's edgy, but read the comments. I was reading them the other day. It's insane the kind of experiences people had. Listen to that meditation. It will help you be in 5D. Other than that, I will see you on the next video. As always, peace, much love, and namaste.